Hello, everyone out there in the internet lands. My name is Jaimelyn Gray, and this is You've Got a Thing, an interview thing about Milwaukee theater things. I thank you so kindly for finding me from wherever you're finding me from, and I hope I can deliver some valuable information to you to get your weekend filled with wonderful things here in Milwaukee. And got a great interview today. I hope you're gonna stick with me on this one. I had a really great conversation with Ferne Caulker-Bronson, who is the founder and beating heart of Ko-Thi Dance Company. We're both part of both of our organizations. The Ko-Thi and the Constructivists are part of an umbrella organization called the Small Arts and Culture Cohort here in Milwaukee. We've been part of it for it's pushing 5 years, but really the bulk of the work has been the past 3. And we're going to talk about Wisconsin arts funding, which is incredibly sad. We regularly rank in the 48, 49, 50th out of, the rankings that they provide for arts funding per capita, so per person. We just in this state cannot manage to value and fund the arts in a worthwhile and meaningful way. And so we have a quite the conversation about that. Fern is an amazingly knowledgeable, smart, wise person, and I really enjoyed talking with her. And so I hope that you'll stay for the breadth of that conversation, because that goes for about an hour. So that's coming up. But first, I do want to go over some other things here in this week of Thursday, April 2nd. I don't know how we got to April already. I don't understand time anymore. Like, I think back to pandemic and how slow everything was, and now everything just seems to be going at warp speed. I don't know if we're making up for pandemic time or whatever, but I don't know how to adequately manage the speed of time. But I'm trying, I promise you. And so I've just got a few things here for this weekend that you can check out. First of all, I want to say happy closing to the folks over at Milwaukee Chamber Theater. They're closing this weekend. Is This a Room? It's originally conceived and put together by Tina Satter, and then it's directed by executive artistic director Brent Hazelton, with a bevy of awesome artists. Russell Holt, Mark Corkins, who we had an interview with a few weeks back, if you want to check that out. Jonathan Wainwright, just some amazing artists here in Milwaukee. And so this is based entirely off the real FBI transcript of one of the most controversial whistleblowing acts in the history of American government. If you remember, there's an NSA translator, Reality Lee Winner, and that's her name, from Texas, focused on the dealing with Russian interference in the 2016 election. And they've staged this in a way. They changed the shape of the studio theater in the Broadway Theater Center, so it's more alley seating, so that you feel like you're really in the room with them. And it's a great opportunity to see that style of theater, which is you get it every once in a while here in Milwaukee, but I'm really excited that they did this for this production. So this is closing. So if you haven't seen it, you got to get your butts in there. So you can go to Milwaukee Chamber Theater, and that's a TRE.org, to check out more about Is This a Room? And I hope you can make it. So the next thing that we have here is you've got a, a few more chances here with Renaissance Theater Works to get your butts into the theater for this. I did have a wonderful interview last week with their marketing director, so you can check that out. Just go back and check out, all the things, because there is valuable information about the companies themselves. If you're new to this program, that you can find out more about, Renaissance and Skylight and the Constructivists and other companies in the Milwaukee Theatre Alliance. And so you can go back and check that out. But I had a nice conversation with Maria Pretzel on that, and who knows all the things about Renaissance Theater Works and the marketing and how the show runs over there. So Barefoot in the Park from them. It's the last show from Susan Fate as their artistic director. She is moving on from that position, and this is her last hurrah in that role. And by all accounts, it's a lovely, lovely show, and you should go and see it. So you have more opportunities to see that than you do Is This a Room? So that's at rtwmke.org, Renaissance Theater Works, Barefoot in the Park by Neil Simon, the classic and amazing Neil Simon. And so go to again, rtwmke.org, and you can find discounts to tickets and all that kind of stuff if you call the box office. So just make that happen, will ya? Then we have from Next Act, they've got a one night only program here called Artistic Legacy, an evening of classical music and conversation from Next Act. This is in preparation for their Dinner with the Duchess, which is their next production coming up. It's going to have Laura Gordon as a spotlight, and the first associate concertmaster and first violin with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, Ilana Setapen. Don't know if I slaughtered that or not. So these are it's just a lovely night of classical music and conversation. If you are interested in that vibe, that is coming up here next week, Tuesday, the 7th. And so you can get your more information about that program by going to nextact.org to check out more information about that. Nextact.org, their artistic legacy. Sounds like an interesting thing. I will be in rehearsal. I cannot make it. So but I'm sure they will have a lovely time. And then we also have our wonderful and amazing improv friends over at the Interchange Theater Co-op. They've got a packed weekend this weekend. If you're interested in checking out some improv, they have events Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week to get your butts in there to see some improv. They've got the High Ground tonight at 7:30 p.m., which is 3 teams of improvisers take to the stage to climb the heights of comedic glory. But at the end of the night, only one can hold the high ground. Ha ha. And then tomorrow night, they have draft night featuring Daily Herald. So those are two separate teams can find out more information about that on the website. And then on Saturday, they have Rotary and Palindrome. Palindrome seems to be regular. I seem to talk about them a bit. So you can go to interchangetheater.com to check out more information about that. So they all start at 7:30 p.m. And then they also have on Sundays their open jam or open mic if you want to get in the game and bring some material to try out. And I believe doors open at 6 p.m. for that side of the interchange. So go to interchangetheater.com for more information about that. Cool. And then real quickly, I just want to mention here, because I haven't mentioned it in a hot minute, the Brick House, which is run by Amanda Hull and her husband Cole Heinrich. They have a venue up on the north side there, real intimate, real cozy, to rent out for whatever artistic endeavor you have. You can do theater rehearsals, auditions, workshops, stage readings, but you can also do meetings and showers and other intimate events. They've got a bar in there and the whole thing. And so space is real tight here in Milwaukee, and the Brick House just happens to be one of the event spaces that you can check out. And so if you're looking for an intimate space to produce your next project, the brickhouse.mke.com for more information about that, and reach out to them and just to have a conversation and check out more about that. So there you go. That's what I got for that. That's what I got for that. That's what I got for us right now. And that's this weekend. All those things are this weekend, and you can check out more about that at the various websites and follow people on social media so that you can have up-to-date information right in the palm of your hand or in front of your face on your computer, or however you access those things. I was just reading an interesting article about people getting rid of their smartphones to go back to just regular, I guess people call them dumb phones, that don't have all the apps and everything on them. I thought it was a really interesting story. And I have dreams of getting off the social medias myself. As the world is the world. So there you go. But right now, let's get to Ferne Caulker-Bronson and that interview that I did a couple weeks back. We fit that into Ferne's busy schedule. So check it out. Sit back with your headphones or however you're listening, and take a break and just listen to us talk about the plight of arts funding in Wisconsin. All right. Today I have with me the good lady Ferne Caulker of Ko-Thi Dance Company, who is Ko-Thi and the Constructivists are both members of a cohort, and we'll get into a little bit about how this cohort even started, called the Small Arts and Culture Cohort, or SMAC, as we lovingly call it. And so both of our companies are part of this cohort. But Ferne, can you just do me a favor and introduce yourself? You have been with this company for some time, and you are a founder, and you know, really the core of, I would say, of Ko-Thi at its heart, and from what I've experienced. And so just sort of say a little bit about yourself and how Ko-Thi came about.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's always an awesome experience to get a chance to talk. In the early part of my career, I didn't have a whole lot of time to talk because I was working full-time at UWM, taught there for 45 years.
Wow.
And then Ko-Thi is in its 57th year this year. And my daughter's in her middle 50s. So that tells you what I've been
It's
about.
been a bit. It's been some road traveled.
But yes, I started the company in 1969. I was a baby and didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that I had a vision when I was in Ghana in 1969, sitting on the beach right outside of the slave fort of Elmina Castle, and was questioning at that time how I felt about, you know, my what I wanted my career to be, was questioning the value of what I was learning in the university systems, and wanted to do something deeper and more consequential that
Mhm.
I felt would show the connection, because I was looking for a connection myself. My father was African. I was born in Sierra Leone, and my mother is African American. So I always have had this duality in terms of feeling where I belonged. And it was in my older stages of life that the light came on and said, I belong everywhere that I wish to belong, and how I wanted to learn the vocabulary to articulate that sense of belongingness. But that wouldn't do any good for me if I was just by myself on the journey. And so, this whole quote, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So that kind of like became the mantra in my head, which was, I could do this journey all by myself, or if I wanted to build something that would live beyond myself, then I would have to create and think in a different kind of way, and it would have to be beyond just the dance. So as I'm sitting there on that beach looking out over the Atlantic, and realize that on the horizon would have been slave ships that people would have gone through the process, and then at low tide walked across the sand, wet sand, right into the holes of the ships, and that their lives would never ever be the same, and that they would disperse, as we call it, the mid-Atlantic slavery. They would disperse into the Caribbean, South America, and North America. So that became, it was like a bell that went off in my head, which was that I had a unique opportunity because of my DNA, if you will, because I had a grandmother who was Native American heritage, and then a grandfather who was from the West Indies, from Jamaica. So, that's all in my DNA. I cannot deny that. So if I could find a way to harness that information and do the research and do the learning, because I was not going to learn that in the institutions that existed,
Right.
then I would have to create. I didn't know all of this, all of that fact then sitting on the beach, but I knew that something was huge and immense, and that I felt that the ancestors had intended for me to experience this. And I've been back to Ghana 3 times.
Wow.
Okay. I've been to back to Africa 5 times, but I've been to Ghana 3 times. And Ghana has always called me because it was the slave coast, and there's so many slave castles there. And Goree Island in Senegal. So, I mean, these are like historic world heritage sites. But that was the beginning and the seed for me. And of course, at that age, so young, I did not know if it's good. I didn't know that. Like I said, being young is a good thing when you're starting off, because you just jump in there, because you don't know that where the alligators are and the snakes and everything else. And you learn that as you move forward. So yeah, that's kind of my story. And I've always been about building a Ko-Thi Dance Company entity, um, that has been able to do really some pretty amazing things that were unexpected. Not from my point of view, I've not been surprised at our capability and capacity, but I think we have surprised a lot of people, other people. It's like, where'd this little company come from, that's gone to Japan and Canada and Mitsui Festival in Japan, and all toured all over the West Coast from California down, and then did it all on a tour bus, 6 weeks tour, toured the East Coast, did a 5-week tour. This was all in the 90s. While we were doing that, we had an ensemble, we had a board, we had a budget that was almost $600,000 a year.
Wow.
We had an agent out of New York City. And we've done all the things that everybody says you should do. You know, we've
Yeah.
reached over 1 million kids in drum talk. So why are we in this juncture right now? Why are we suffering the way we're suffering right now with no funds? You know, what is going on? You know.
Yeah. Can you get into a little bit about, so for people who don't know, Wisconsin regularly sits in the bottom numbers for the amount of dollars they spend per person.
Yep, for the arts.
For the arts.
Yes.
So we are regularly 48, 49, 50th, depending upon, you know, what a couple of other states decide to do with their funding.
Very sad.
We flit in this low ranking.
Fighting for the bottom.
Fighting for the bottom, right? And like you've said, and I've said it too, it's just embarrassing. It's really just an embarrassing. When you sort of look at the numbers in the Midwest, it's really embarrassing.
Yeah, like our state up in Minneapolis, it's like night and day.
They're spending what, 700 times the amount of what we're
embarrassing.
Spending.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing, but to the point where I'm angry about it.
Same. It is a real state where you are so angry that you have to fight constantly for survival. Just constantly.
But you see, that becomes this fighting for survival at the bottom. And I see it's a double whammy, because I'm a Black person, human, and I'm a female human that does the art. So it's like 3 buckets of slap, slap, slap.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Yes.
So, you know, I think that part of the game that is being played, and I do see this as a game that people have become masters of, is that, you know, somewhere there was a break in history in terms of how Black people were seen in the world, or the arts in the world. Because in traditional Africa, the artist is like very, very important. Every king, you know, had a griot, and the griot was playing a Cohort and would sing the testaments and all of the important things in the history of that king and the lineage. And then there was a court of musicians and dancers, just like in the early courts in Europe. And so there was a time in history where Africans, like the Moors in Spain, were very, very respected. And this is pre-slavery, where there was none of this, you know, Black people are like animals and dogs and have no culture and no language. And then something snapped, something switched. Berlin Conference, 1888, I think it was. I can't remember, that date is not correct, but anyway, it was. But they had a meeting called the Berlin Conference, and you can look it up. And sitting around that table at the Berlin Conference was all Europeans. There was not an African at the table. But the subject at that Berlin Conference was to divide the continent of Africa up. Because what was happening was that in Europe, they were going through a problem with the coinage and the cost of gold to mint their coins. The first gold coin that was done in Europe has an African elephant on it. Okay, so, you know, my question was to go back and ask why. When did Black people and Black culture fall specifically to the point where it was not considered art? And that's the beginning of it. Because people, you know, the explorers went to Africa and they discovered gold at the time when Europe needed gold, right? The missionaries and the Bible, explorers, the Bible, and then the politicians. And so when people look at Africa and say, why is it Africa can't get its shit together? Well, there's a very good historic reason for that if you study history.
Yeah.
It's not an accident. and it's called colonialism.
Yeah.
And colonialism I can put right next to racism and what happened in this country and segregation. The two things go together. They come from the same origin. So put that aside and then just talk about the arts in general. Is that in the European cultures, art was always important, but also there was a culture of rich families who became benefactors and adopted an artist, like, Michelangelo. They all had people who adopted them and paid for them on salary to do this art or whatever. And the same thing in the African courts. The king would, levy out funds, for the kora player and have songs written and, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is that part of what I think we're suffering from as artists and all of us in the SMAC organization, we do ourselves a disfavor when we call ourselves small arts cohort in a way, because are we really small? The budgets are small, but are we really small? What we actually do as a cohort is not small. It's not tiny. It's humongous, because it's about changing people and offering people experiences in the arts that are transformative. That's not small.
Well, it's 11 organizations.
Exactly. That's huge.
Of varying budget sizes, but we range in about, like, I think the constructivists and I think Wolf we are of the more smaller budgets. And I think that's like less than $100,000. And I will say, because I can speak to the constructivists, we are way less than $100,000 operating budget. But then we reach up to about 350,000
right,
for some of the large orgs. Yeah.
Right. And then, like, this year, because last year, 2025, because of what happened, when what Ko-Thi sustained in terms of programming, one of which was a capacity building 2-year grant that we had received and we're already spending, that's one of the grants that got cut. Okay. So between our normal funding from the NEA for performances and then this particular other grant that was a composite of a lot of different, arts here, it was called, we got cut. So in total, and then how that affected down into the Wisconsin Arts Board ACI money, we're talking about $200,000 in a budget over a year and a half.
Of money that you do have, or money that was taken away?
That was taken away.
Yeah. So because for people who out there who don't know, there were grants out there that had already been
dispersed
given to and dispersed to organizations.
Correct.
And then the current administration came in and decided that largely from what I have seen, it's largely based on quote unquote DEI.
It's totally based on DEI
objectives and mission statements.
Yep, that's what they actually told us in the paragraph.
Okay, great. So they actually told you that.
They told us that.
And of which?
Because we didn't fit into the president's definition. That's what it said. No words need to be said.
Yeah. So this is the letter that you received. Those funds were yanked.
Yes.
And now, like you said, in the 90s, you're dealing with $600,000 budgets or whatnot. And over the years, it has just been chipped away and chipped away.
Absolutely.
And chipped away. Absolutely. And chipped away. Do you happen to know at all during the 90s where Wisconsin ranked in?
It was still low. We were still
It was still low. Okay.
We were still low.
Do you think that there were not as many arts outlets, or why do you?
I think there's been more because I'm thinking back now in terms of SMAC and when all of the organizations were founded, I think it's in the last 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we go back to, Ko-Thi starting in 1969.
Yeah.
And we're still the oldest and only sustaining Black arts theater company in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's a thing about what happens specifically with Wisconsin being at the bottom of that, and how that affects everything that we have to do. It affects your planning. It affects your ability to project a season.
Yeah.
And really it affects how we as organizations sustain, even if you have a dollar and you know that you have to make that dollar spread over a period of time, you build a way to work with that dollar. Women do this all the time when they figure out how to put food on the table for their kids. You got 12 eggs, you got 10 days, what are we going to do? Right?
Yeah.
You figure it out. But it also makes us take a lot of risks that are usually very personal in the leadership. And so we take personal risks while at the same time we're trying to raise our families, or single mothers, or children with health issues. We have health issues just like everybody else. I think that one of the things that Wisconsin is doesn't realize, that it's the message it's sending to the artists in this state, is that we're not worthy.
Yeah.
And what happens when somebody feels they're not worthy? What does that do to the psyche? So, what the state does then is it picks up the things that have a larger swath and then deem them as worthy,
Yeah.
or more worthy than, and then they build buildings and epitaphs and logos that surround them that say these are the worthy people, because they have a building and they have a banner and they have grass and they have all kinds of things and street markers and everything, and therefore they're worthy and we're not, because we don't have that. And that is such a gross misjudgment, to think that you're not worthy as an arts organization because you don't have a building, because you don't have a banner in front of the building. And so here we are servicing, because of our programmatic ingenuity. We are doing performances for one major arts organization in the city, that we're out there servicing the schools under their banner, with us servicing the school. Now they got the building and they got the banner, but we're doing the actual work
You're doing the work.
in the classroom. So there's that. And this has been going on for ages, for ages, for ages, for ages. And I think about, I don't want to mention names, but I'm thinking about entities that have been set aside. So one of the things I heard was that the problem with the arts community in Milwaukee is that you guys don't work together. Are you kidding me? And I remember Ko-Thi being in one of these huge umbrella organizations, of which we have been a part of two. This is our third one, the smaller cohort, the SMAC. But we've been part of two larger organizations that were supposedly set up as umbrella organizations. And here's the deal, is that if I'm in an umbrella organization, that I want to be treated with the same respect that everybody else that's in the umbrella. It has nothing to do with budget. It has to do with the delivery. And it has to do with how we're able to inspire, how we're able to commit, how we're able to reach and change lives. That's the thing that gets me, is that when I go into a school 3 weeks ago, and this little fifth grader, when we did the Q&A, says, puts his little hand up and he says, I've never seen a drum like that before. He's talking about the djembe. This is in 2026. And I said, well, baby, this is why we're here.
Yeah.
And
Impact.
see, that has nothing to do with Ko-Thi having a building and a banner and grass on the front and
Yeah.
festivals and the street street signage. It has nothing to do with that at all. It has to do with us being in that school and reaching those kids and touching them, so that when I go for a radio interview somewhere, I run into the guy who's working, who is now in his 40s in the radio, and he's adjusting and getting my mic ready. And he says, you don't know me, but I was in like 5th grade when you guys came to my school. And he said, I want you to know, Miss Ferne, it changed my life, because I'd never seen people so proud of their African heritage and actually come and deliver for us. I didn't know that was there. And it made me think of myself differently, and it made me curious and made me want to read more, to find out, first of all, who they were and why they came to the school and what they were about. And then I looked up on the web, I was a little kid, but the teacher, he also had a teacher who made them do assignments and look, Senegal, where is that on the globe? So, that's what legacy is about. Legacy is not a building. We know that for sure when somebody, name not mentioned, can just decide that he will just add his name onto a building in New York City. That's the Lincoln Center for the Arts, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying it's like you slap your name on a building, and that is supposed to be what, real?
Yeah.
That's the standard that we're all striving for. So every place that Ko-Thi performs at, I need to put Ferne Caulker-Bronson on the front of the building. Was here. I know I was there. And guess what? Because when I go to the supermarket, I run into a parent that tells me, hey, Miss Ferne, and I don't recognize them. And they say, you don't remember. They always start with, you don't remember me, but I was blah, 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 blah. You see, that's what legacy is about. So, the thing about Wisconsin being at the bottom is that what is the message that Wisconsin is sending? And I know we have to put ourselves in the context of conversations where we don't talk about people not having food. We talk about the whole concept of social health, biological health, and psychological health. Okay. So if those things are all important for a whole person to feel whole, then where do we fit in that? We're in every one of those circles. Yeah. Because we deal with the biological aspect of it in theater, in dance, and music. We deal with the psychological because we teach skill sets.
Yep.
Learning how to come up in a room, work with a group of people, and create. And we teach social health, which is starting with yourself and self-care, and then caring and having empathy for other people that you're working with. We do this in the performing arts. That's like basic in the performing arts. The artists we don't want to work with are the artists who we can't get that from.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the message. And so somebody might say, well, who cares? I mean, all you have to do is just look in America today and look at who our leadership is in government. And these are people who I believe just never got a chance to be in the school play because they weren't good enough. They didn't get to play on the teams because they weren't quite good enough. And they just didn't get to be in the theater play or whatever because they weren't good enough. They didn't make it. And so they're pissed off. They're pissed off adults because they never got a chance to be in the school play.
But they come from money and have used that money to leverage power.
Correct. So what do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do? Well,
because we as SMAC have been having these internally, and externally when we do presentations and whatnot. We have been having these discussions and relaying information about changing the conversation that impact is not necessarily dollars.
Exactly.
That impact is expressed in other ways, like you don't remember me, but.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is,
it's hard to quantify. It's hard for people to wrap their heads around that thing of I can't I can't relate to, or I can anecdotally say when
Mhm.
people leave a constructivist show, they have smiles on their faces.
Right, I can say the same thing, but you know what our problem is that we're selling the fact that it's not about the money, but it is about the money.
Yeah.
You see, it's that we have set up an alternative universe that says, okay, so the money people over here support, all of the big institutions. Fine. And then, but what we do has great value. And so it's not about the money, it's about our value. But if we're living in a society where money is the way people interact with one another, then we have to change our dialogue. We have to say, like I figured out one day, I just spent the whole day and figured out all the costs for each child in town Ko-Thi for a year. It came to $7,000 per child because I added in there the rent. I broke it down.
Yeah.
I added in there insurance. I added in there 1 to 2 sets of costumes per year. I added in there the cost of the teachers. I added in there the rent, right?
Yeah.
And when you put that all together, that's how much Ton Ko-Thi is costing Ko-Thi per child,
Yeah.
per child, per year. You see, so it is about money. It is about,
Yeah.
because why not? If, okay, so, why wouldn't it be about money? If it's about money to keep the ballet dancers going and have a therapist there to give them massages if they hurt themselves or whatever, and somebody there, so they're working on a decent floor. So they got a donor to put up the building. They have a beautiful building there. And we teach African dance there for them, for the school. It's just, I go into the Milwaukee Ballet facility and I want to weep. I want to just weep because it's made for dancers. And it's like, wow, look how these young people are treated here with such awe and respect to come here and just learn. You see, and we can't sustain that. So, damn it, it is about money. We have to
Yeah.
change the way we talk. We have to say we are worthy, and this is how much we cost, and this is the work that we have to do to really to have the effect that we feel that we need to have, because chronic underfunding, which is one of the things you talked about, is means that you don't have an ability to sustain artists who don't have to work 5, 9 jobs
Yeah.
before they or go to work after the Ko-Thi rehearsal at 10 o'clock. They go and work and then
Yeah.
get up in the morning, and then they're expected to come and go do a show
Yeah.
and I mean, this is ridiculous. Two, the inability to sustain psychic awareness of their worthiness. You feel worthy when you do a good job and you get paid for it.
Yeah.
And three is just also, if you're worthy, all of a sudden you're careful. And I have always felt my dancers were worthy. I've stopped. In the early days, we didn't know any better. We danced on grass, we danced on cement, we danced blah blah blah. But if we're doing 80% of what we do is drum talk facilities out in schools, that's all on bad floors. What do bad floors do to dancers that are jumping?
To dancer bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about, there's about that. And then we don't have health insurance for our dancers.
Nope.
So let's be real here. This is about money. Health insurance costs money.
Yeah, it does. And more
And
and more.
and more and more. And then now the other thing is the donor-based education. This is just, we have to, people, Ko-Thi did amazing shows at the Paps Theater. A lot of people remember that, with full sets and designs and everything. I mean, I was really proud of that period of time when we would do these full blown out 3-night runs. And people had no idea that just the cost of being at the Paps Theater 20, 30 years ago would be $30,000, $40,000 that they would just take out of the box receipts.
Yes.
So Ko-Thi might make $60,000 in ticket sales or what have you, and it's gone. When I walk away from the Paps Theater and come back and pay the dancers, we just did 3 shows that were magnificent, and I got it all on video, so nobody can, if you say you lying, no, I can show it to you, you know. And people were coming. I was so proud of the fact that we had one of the most diverse audiences ever show up at anything in Milwaukee. Ko-Thi had people from all walks of life, all ages, all nationalities, all colors, all hues in those seats. And I was really proud of that. That should have been a marker for Ko-Thi.
Yeah.
It should have been a marker. But getting the donors that had the funds, and somebody once said to me, well, you could just be grateful. And I'm like, I am so tired of these conversations. Is that you're going to tell me that the person that you're dropping from the helicopter food because they're starving on the ground level, and you're saying that they need to scream up to the helicopter, thank you, I'm so grateful, thank you. They're trying to get some rice. Of course I'm grateful. Of course I'm grateful for your support.
Yeah.
But I'm on the ground and you bringing it to me because you know that I need your support. And then you're going to turn around and tell me I'm not grateful? What does grateful look like? Productivity is what I think. So I mean, these are the things that, so there's the artists not having to work other jobs, drummers not having to work other jobs. I mean, everybody who's ever come through Ko-Thi, except the 1990s, when for 3 years we were able to get enough traction, enough people to believe, and corporations to believe in what we were doing, to sustain 12 artists, 14 artists.
Wow.
Drummers and dancers for 3 years, and they got a paycheck 8.5 months out of each year, 2 times a month. And that's how we were able to tour. And so you can look and see what we did during that period. We were reaching tons of kids. 2 ensembles were out, each one doing 2-3 shows a week in the schools. This is when MPS had a little bit of money. There's that too. That bucket is gone.
Yeah.
And then we were touring because I had everybody as a star. And I didn't have to compete. Well, I have to take. And then we went back to people having to use. So if we went on tour, it meant that here these beautiful artists having to use all of their sick leave on their jobs so they could go out on the road. We don't ask other, quote, artists in Wisconsin to do that. And I finally said, we're never going out again to do long tours. We're not doing that anymore, because you know who suffered the most was all the women who had children.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Every dime they made in Ko-Thi went to childcare.
Totally.
So they were just out on the road, poor.
Totally.
And still no health insurance benefits. I just could not consciously do it anymore. It's a terrible thing. So, and so then there was this whole thing about collaboration, which they'll say, well, I'd rather give to a conglomerate than give to, 12 individual groups. Okay, why are we still pulling teeth?
We as in SMAC have gained some traction. We have had some success. We have had some people investing in this cohort.
And we're grateful.
And we're grateful.
But it's not enough.
Is it to the numbers that we had established for ourselves at the beginning of this process and what we had hoped for?
No, because there are 12 of us.
Oh, there's 11 of us now.
11, yeah. I'm saying we need, again, it comes back to my original statement. We have to change the way we talk. It costs money for us to do what we're doing. And no longer is it acceptable, Wisconsin, to put those of us in leadership positions in jeopardy. I mean, everybody I know has some kind of stress-induced ailment from running these companies. Diabetes, high blood pressure, heart conditions. I could go on down the list. I bet you if we did a survey on all of us in the small arts groups, we would talk to the founders and find out everybody is dealing with some kind of stress-related induced illness.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable, Milwaukee. It's not acceptable, Wisconsin. What? And so here's the question. So let's get rid of all of the small, everybody who's under a budget of 400,000, let's just all sit down and do nothing. What will Milwaukee and the state look like? We know the answer. Is that what Wisconsin wants to be? And if that's what Wisconsin wants to be, then damn it, speak it out loud so we can move.
Yeah.
Because this is ridiculous. I sat on the Wisconsin Arts Board for 3 years and we were having the same conversation 10-something years ago.
Yeah.
It just doesn't change. I mean, am I angry? Yeah. I'm sad and I'm angry. Because you know what? This affects our recruitment for board members.
Yeah, it does.
Because the community, we need people to sit on our boards who can bring heavy lifts to our organizations. And listen, I was blown away when I found out that the law firms in this town, when they recruit, one of the things they do is that both the lawyer and his wife are assigned to be docents or what have you, or board members on arts organizations. That's how they end up sitting on the ballet and the symphony and the rep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ain't nobody sent anybody like that to me.
No, me neither.
Exactly. And that would help us a lot.
Absolutely.
That's what helped us in the 90s when we were able to be that touring ensemble and represent the state of Wisconsin, which is really deep because everywhere we went, whether it was Brooklyn Academy of Music, at Dance Africa, we've performed at the Lincoln Center, Ko-Thi. And when we did that, it said from Wisconsin, from the beautiful dairy state of Wisconsin. Okay. Everywhere we went, we carried that banner with us. For what? To come back and be bottom of the list of percentile from state tax budget? I mean, this is insulting beyond comprehension. And when you're an organization that's as old as Ko-Thi, now I'm into like protecting archival materials. We have artwork that is archival, historic, that's artistic. I mean, masks and things. People over the years have donated treasures to Ko-Thi. We have costumes. Listen, we have a warehouse just full of stuff.
Yeah.
And we have over 2,000, and we're still working on digitalizing all of our artwork. All of our concerts are digitalized.
Wow.
And we're digitalizing already. We have over 1,500 pictures now in JPEG form.
Wow.
They go back to 1960s.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm just saying somebody has had to do that. Keep that stuff safe. Move it around. Is that worth having done? Because I'm the only person that's in the organization now that's been around from the beginning. Everybody else is gone.
Yeah.
So that's 57 years of holding that stuff, and when the company didn't have the money pay for the storage for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at what point, accountability, and you use this beautiful word snappy, collaboration, we constantly working together, but it's kind of like how did you put it?
When does scrappy
become
stop being admirable?
Exactly.
And when does it start to be exploitation?
Well, I think we're at a point where we need to start speaking as exploitation. We need to start saying it, because you know what? And people can translate that to mean, you're not grateful, or you don't appreciate. That's not what I'm not talking about. The people who are donating and are trying to help us. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that equity is what I'm talking about. And it's exploitation when there's no equity. And the fact that this conversation is even being held at the CAMPAC level as to the value of how the money gets divided up. I mean, the fact that we're still having to have that conversation, to me, is so insulting.
Yeah.
So it's not like those conversations haven't come up. They're coming up. And we just went through that with CAMPAC. So, I mean, what is it? What is the antidote to erasure? What is the antidote for that?
Well, because that's the bottom line here, is that all of us small arts organizations, well, you have been doing this for 57 years, and that is the exception. That is
Absolutely. It's
exceptional
the exceptional. It's the exception, but not
organizations
anymore.
that go 5, 6, 7,
Mhm.
8 years and then are gone.
Yes. Yes.
And then are gone. Constructivists, we are in our 8th season right now. I'm looking at at season 9,
Mhm.
and if I'm honest,
Mhm.
I have real concerns
Mhm.
about the future of the constructivists, particularly because we're coming to the end of SMAC, and
Yes.
SMAC
Yes.
has provided significant funds for the
Absolutely.
constructivists.
Right.
And once our orgs are done with our SMAC investment, which was 3 years,
Mhm. Mhm.
once that is complete, those funds won't be available to us anymore. I don't
Exactly.
have, as the
Anywhere to
leader of
go.
constructivists,
Right. Where are you going for it?
a backup for
Mhm.
those funds right now.
I know. I know. And Ko-Thi has gone, like I said, from a $600,000 budget to down to, and so somebody can say, well, you all didn't just manage your money. That is not true.
It
I
is
have
not true.
never seen, I've never seen the best budgeters in the world are people who run arts organizations. Let me tell you, what we produce with a dime is awesome. And it is now biting us in the ass. Because my thing is that people say, oh, look, she's surviving. It's like when you hear people say, I never knew where I grew up, but I never knew I was poor because my mama, was a magician.
Yeah.
But now mama's dead and gone, and you didn't get to tell her, I love you because you were a real magician, because I didn't understand how you were managing for us to never think that we were poor.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about those of us who are running our arts organizations, is that people never know just how much we're actually, sacrificing to keep these organizations alive because of the value. Again, we go back to that word, because of the value, you know. So again, I ask the question to everybody that's watching this, is what is the antidote to complete erasure of all of us
Yeah.
in SMAC? What's going to be the antidote for that?
Yeah.
Because we represent a huge, it's a huge culture that we represent. And how do we pull out of that? I mean, I'm just, I'm thinking about tonight, I'm going to rehearsal to sit and talk with the parents of the town Ko-Thi and talk to them about why it's important for you to make sure you pay your minuscule little dues of under $300 or whatever, $350 a year, for us to train your kids. Because you see these people sitting right over here, that's the staff. I got to pay them with what? So y'all want to do fundraisers, we got to talk about that, because you can't just do a fundraiser and put Ko-Thi banner and say it's for Ko-Thi. This is a business. So I'm going to go in and motivate the parents tonight, and sit with the kids and motivate them, and then have a meeting with the adult ensemble and motivate them, because times are different. Young people don't relate to what we do. It's a different mindset, because now here's the thing, we're competing with TikTok.
Yeah.
So as a dancer comes up the stairs and they want to get that sequence that you're learning, and they're not interested in about where, from, who, what. You know what I'm saying? Not really. They just want to get the steps, and then they run out the door and go. Next thing you know, they're teaching it someplace and they don't even know what they're teaching, right? And how it relates to anything else. But it's the TikTok mentality is that your claim to fame is you can do a 1 minute, not
One
even
video away.
right, and get 1,000 people watch you. But what they're forgetting is that they ain't paying your butt. You just like regurgitating. And so your ego, this is the age of massive egos. That's the age we're living in.
Yeah.
From the top down in American societies, massive egos.
Yeah.
And so my question is, what is the antidote going to be? Us sacrificing the leadership in SMAC ourselves, us sacrificing ourselves on the altar of the arts.
Yeah.
Come on, lay me on the altar, lay me out when I'm dead, and put coals up under me and put me on the lake and send me out on the lake to, effigy, right? So what? You see?
So what?
So what? I mean, African-American Children's Theater, Hansberry Sands, City Ballet, Inner City Arts Council. I can go on down the list of just Black arts organizations that are gone.
Gone.
And the saddest part is nobody even knew they were gone. They just went poof. And nobody mourned them. Nobody said, well, I ran into somebody who said, I said, did you know? They always come and say, how's Ko-Thi doing? I said, I don't know. When's the last time you donated? And that's the last time I have a conversation with those people. But I'm just saying they don't talk to me anymore. But that's the question. Don't ask me how is Ko-Thi doing when you know that you were the beneficiary of being around this company and seeing the shows and loving it, but you have never donated to the company. And you're going to ask me how are we doing? Are you serious? What am I supposed to do with that? So what is the antidote to erasure? Because now, not only are we having to build our communities, we got a government that could care less whether we exist or not. And I can't hide Ko-Thi Dance Company under the guise of being not DEI.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is everybody in Ko-Thi going to suddenly have white face?
Yeah.
And we're going to put on tutus?
Yeah.
And American flags, and all of a sudden we can get money from the government?
Yeah. Yeah.
And celebrate the 250th birthday, which is going to be celebrated on his birthday? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I can't hide Ko-Thi.
Yeah.
We're DEI. We are it. We're DEI. So what am I supposed to do? What is the antidote? Give me the shot. Where's the shot at? I want the shot.
I don't know. I don't because the only thing that the missing piece of this puzzle, there's millions and millions and millions of dollars being handed out to various organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there is a big building now downtown, fresh new building downtown, with name of a bank on it.
Yep.
Who is given millions of dollars.
Yep.
To put their name on the side of a building.
Yep. I mean, if somebody wanted to really do something, give SMAC a building.
Give SMAC a building.
I mean, let's talk serious here. That's antidote. Solution 1, give SMAC a building, put all 11 of us in it, and watch and see what we built. Give us 2 years, 3 years minimum of support for administrative, marketing, and tool development and that kind of stuff, and see what we create, because we've already proven we're willing to work together.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to have a performance space in it. It's a place to produce work. It's a place to train the community. It's a place to become a haven, a place for children and young people to come. And with all that we know as SMAC, we could develop this building.
With all of our skills, totally.
With all of our skills, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And we've all proven we can work together. So we're talking about, I mean, look, I've been thinking about this. What do we need? We need schooling, enrollment. We need to have classes that beef up what's being taken out of the school system. So we can teach history classes, we can teach cultural classes, etc. Public speaking and mentoring. We can train our community, train our kids, train the parents to get up and become spokesmen, and mentoring. Training our young people to go into research and methods and observation. Training in age specific and observation of each other, and learning how to communicate so we don't have this weekend, 7 people died with gun violence in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. These kids don't have any other skill set.
Yeah.
So let's take them. SMAC could be working, and we're talking about RX and prescriptions. We could be working with kids who are on one foot into the police system, right? We could take some of those kids and give them some tools. Could be special classes for them. They could come with their police, what do you call it? Psychologists or therapists or what have you. You know, this whole RX thing. Increasing language skills. What happens if a kid can't hardly speak English but grows up in an English-speaking country? So how do we help them develop the tools to learn language skills, learning how to speak in other languages, which we teach our kids, right? Opportunities for community, kids meeting other kids from different cultures. What about, mentoring kids into the administrative? Between our 11 organizations in SMAC, we could actually be bringing kids in to actually learn administration and working. What does it mean to have a dance company? How does that work? Audience development, customer service. I mean, the skill sets that we would send kids out from us enhance the community. What does it mean to be a development training ambassador for Ko-Thi Dance Company or SMAC? What does it mean to be, what are the best practices for being a professional leader? We have all of these tools. Time management. What does that mean? Nobody understands time management better than we do. Are you kidding me? So we have all these skills.
I had sent a proposal, or I had made out a proposal to create Wisconsin a few years back about an after-school program from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. Right when that time period of kids get out of school,
right,
and their parents aren't home yet,
right, and they get a sandwich and a glass of milk, and then they come to you
and
how to feed them
and create art in that time period to provide a space for kids to go, to give them something to do. A year cost well over $100,000.
Of course it did.
It was,
of course it did.
to pay artists a fair wage,
absolutely,
a living wage,
absolutely,
to be there for students.
And you can't do it for less, because like I said,
I said,
it's about money.
And it just went nowhere. It just went nowhere.
That's sad. That's
partially because I cannot manage that by myself.
Nope.
Right?
Absolutely not.
I can't manage.
And we're in the same situation. We're turning down some gigs.
Yeah.
And some of it is because of accessibility, because we can't get all, like, daytime gigs are difficult to book because everybody's working.
Yeah.
And I just find it hard and incomprehensible, asking people to use up their sick days and vacation days and what have you to go dance in front of a room full of snotty kids for no money.
Yeah.
or for little money.
For
I mean,
little money.
how can we keep doing this? And then they're working on floors that are basically cement.
Yeah.
So, for me, the antidote has to come under the research of what I call, the opportunities. What is the capability and the capacity of the people that we individually in our organizations work with? We pretty much know that. I look at the pedigree of who my staff is. 2 of them have degrees from dance department, one in Milwaukee and one at Columbia University and the other one at UWM. I've got another one that 2 others are completely divested in having been in arts organizations and cultural organizations from the time they were 5, 6 years old. Okay. Kumasi, who was our musical director, and Deontay have been musicians in their own right. Kumasi went into the Marine. He's a veteran, came back, became our musical director, and now he has his own business dealership. And I'm just saying that we have produced people who have left the company and who are, principals, have become principals and retired, dancers, teaching dance, moving around the community. And let's not forget, just good parents turned out to be, heads of families and raising beautiful children. I mean, that is a legacy.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I don't know. Maybe SMAC needs to set up a meeting with the governor.
I think that is something that we have not fully pressed.
We need to do that, and we need to have a meeting with the mayor.
Yes.
And I'm really serious about that.
I am with you.
I feel that is something that we can, that's another part of moving towards the antidote for what is happening. And we have to come in there and be really, we got all the marketing tools. We can give them the package on SMAC. We don't need to reinvent it.
Right.
We got the data.
Right.
And we make these appointments and we make the trip. A representative from each organization, we come in there as a group and have a spokesman. And we are here because we want to make a presentation to you to understand what is at jeopardy here.
Give more money, make more money happen.
Right.
Or face extinction.
That's exactly right. And it needs to be laid out exactly like that. Because when I tell you that when Mama Ferne is gone, I don't know what's going to happen to Ko-Thi.
Same. At the Constructivist.
Okay. Because who's replacing us? All this work for what? All this work. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with our mission. There's nothing wrong with our hearts. There's this book that I've been reading called Art and Fear: Observations on the Perils and Rewards of Art Making.
Oh.
Listen, this book was by David Bales and Ted Orland, and it was written in 1993.
Yikes.
Okay, Art and Fear: Observations on the Perils and Rewards in brackets of art making. But he says the knowledge of perception is key to success. How people, right, my words, perceive us.
Yeah.
One must know how one is being perceived from the outside to determine what our strategy needs to be.
Yeah.
And so when I keep saying we got to tell the right story, that's what I mean. And it's not helping that we're letting other people tell our story. We have to be aggressive. And I would say, this being the 3rd year of SMAC, what do we got to lose?
Yeah.
Make a list, identify these people, these players, and go up in there and say, God damn it, we're talking about extinction here.
Yeah.
We have nothing to lose, and we're coming to you with this. Here's the packet. This is who we are. There are 11 of us here.
Yeah.
Here's the data, who we reach, da 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 da, and then here's what we need. Here's what we need. And he says in here, success is when opportunity meets preparation. Oprah Winfrey said this. Success is when opportunity meets preparation. Well, we've got the preparation done.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for the opportunity. We can call them angels. We can call them donors. We can call them whatever we want to. But
Grants, funders.
grants, whatever. But we need a public statement from our governor. We need because what I heard, and I don't have the verification of this, but if this is true, then we definitely got to go see the mayor. Because I heard that they did a plan, long-term range plan for till 2027, 28, or 2040, 2040, long-term plan for the city. And who was it that told me? I can't remember. I need verification that in this plan, there's no mention of the arts.
Superb.
Why is it I believe that? Let's give them a hand for that. Wonderful.
Great.
Yep. There you go. What else do we need to know?
Great. We should find verification on that. We should investigate that.
I think SMAC should investigate that. Definitely.
We should talk to the mayor. We should talk to the governor.
I agree.
And
set up an appointment to go see them.
And for everybody out there, I mean, anybody listening to this, thank you so much for listening to this conversation. Ferne, yes. You are the most wonderful of humans. and your depth and width and fullness of knowledge is never ending. And I wish I could talk to you for more hours. And I hope that people will get a sense out of this discussion of how dire things actually are. We didn't get a lot into the numbers. This is more about existence on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
This is we really are after the pandemic, after
exactly.
More cuts and more cuts and more cuts.
And now in a war.
And now we're in another war.
Mm-hmm.
And gas prices are going up.
Right.
Food costs are up. And all of this. And
mm-hmm.
and I hope you get the sense, if you're listening to this or watching this somewhere, that we really are at a crossroads of more investment in the arts or die.
Exactly. Or some arts are going to die. And so my thing is that what is the head of the state of Wisconsin viewpoint on that?
Yeah.
What is the head of the city of Milwaukee's viewpoint on that?
Yeah.
If it means that SMAC needs to come in and make a presentation at the city council meeting,
yeah,
and get on the agenda, I think our role this year has to be political.
Heard.
And we got to stop asking for money to the people who don't have any money and start going to the people who make the decisions about who gets money.
And where do your values lie?
Right. That's what we want to know. Because you're not going to use us until we're bone dry. You're just not going to get that opportunity. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'll close Ko-Thi Dance Company down.
Yeah. Same. I'll close the
because I just don't if there's no value from the top. I mean, we're at the point now where we have to find some faith. That has to be, we're not asking for $1 billion. We're not asking for $1 trillion. We're asking for funding so that we can we've proven that we're willing to work together. We've proven that we are interconnected with one another. And so I just don't understand, what is it that's left? We got these few friends out there that God love them, that support us and understand what we're trying to do. But it's not enough. There are 11, 12 organizations, and we need to be responsible for each other, but we can't carry each other up the hill.
The state, the county, the city needs to also invest
Absolutely.
in the arts.
Absolutely. And that's the throwdown. To me,
Yeah,
you know where we are? We're throwing down the gauntlet.
I hear you. And I'm with you.
Because what do we have to lose right now?
Exactly.
And all I keep thinking about is that little boy that, in Ton, why do you drum? Because it makes my heart feel strong, and it makes my, it just, we got all the quotes. I have so many beautiful quotes from children and people who have seen our shows and everybody else's
Absolutely.
shows at SMAC. Like I said, we got the data. That's not our problem. They say, well, verify this. I've sent out, if I tell you how many proposals I have sent out of state and to people that we've put together, people who are millionaires, and I don't hear, it's crickets. Crickets. And I understand that people, but what people don't realize is that every single attempt we do in fundraising, I'll leave you with this shocking comment. We were at Juneteenth Day, and this woman came up to one of our staff and said, I just saw you guys. It was right after Martin Luther King's Day. They had seen them in Madison, and said the company was just beautiful. I'd never seen anything like it before, but I don't understand. Did you all get paid for that gig? And the person said yes. And the community member said, well, I don't understand. Why are you out here asking for money? That's the disconnect. And there it is.
And there it is.
No clue. And she meant well.
Absolutely. But when you're caught between trying to get the public to understand how much it actually costs to make art.
But you see, this is where we have failed. Because I don't think people understand. They don't see. Do we have a document? Like, if we took everybody in SMAC's budgets for 2025 and rolled it all into production costs, rent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just did a sheet that had that, and then the 11 organizations, and then a total at the end of just what it costs. But who would we hand that to?
Because when I give the speech at the top of the show, thank you so much for coming. Please enjoy the show. If you have space in your life, there is a box as you leave the door to drop a donation. There's a QR code, and people's eyes gloss over.
We experience the same thing.
I can see it.
Yeah.
People do not want to hear about money.
They just want to come to the show.
They want the magic.
They want the magic without actually paying for it.
They want the magic show for free.
What they're paying for doesn't even begin to take the cost of the magic.
I will tell you, at the Constructivists, we charge $20 plus fees for accessibility. That doesn't come anywhere close.
Not anywhere close
to what it actually costs.
Right. So here's the boogaboo. Somebody will say, well, then figure out how to do it with cheaper costs.
I cannot
That's
work
what they say.
for
You
less
can work
than
for
free.
exactly.
I cannot work for less than free.
Okay.
Because I tell people this, and I've been more and more open about it. I have not taken a single dime in the entire history of the constructivists.
Look, you know why I can relate and love you for that? I'm working as the interim executive director for Ko-Thi Dance Company with no salary, totally volunteered since 2022. And I'm donating to the company too. I'm putting an ad in the black newspaper that
Oh,
says
I also pay for.
Ko-Thi needs money, and I'm paying for it. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, if we put that cost, not to mention the company owes me over $30,000 in loans that's also on our balance sheet.
Would
That's
you like to
loan.
see the loans from our
That's right.
taxes as
So
well?
see, this is part of the story
Yeah.
that we need to tell. We're coming to these people and saying, we're at extinction. The we is you and me, Jaimelyn.
Yeah.
Us. We
Yeah.
are in extinction. So when we're gone,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
Because this generation coming up under us, they ain't doing nothing for free, let alone contributing money on top of that. First of all, because they can't, because gas and everything else they're having to worry about. Secondly, they just don't have the
different value set. Yeah.
different value set. So it's over. So if that's okay with the governor, that you don't have anything but the 5, UPAF groups, fine. Then that's your artistic sector.
Yeah. That's it.
That's your artistic sector. And if that's fine with you, Mr. Mayor, then we'll leave you. Goodbye. And let's get out of here. And I need to go figure out how to what the next move is, because there is no antidote from those two sources.
I'm gonna go work in the recovery community.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Because you can't. How old are you?
I am turning the grand old age of 48 this year.
Okay. I'm turning 57, 58. I'm 70. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Ko-Thi is 57. You
Yeah,
are.
I am, right. And so in a year from now, I'll be 80.
Yeah.
Well, how long?
How long do we have to do this?
What in the world? I can ask that question. Damn it. How long?
I'm telling you, when I started this journey, when I graduated from high school, and when I'm going to be an actor, artist person for the rest of my life, the last thing that I thought was that I would be getting to 48 years old running a company for no income.
See, nuts. And it's because we have heart.
We have
Yeah,
heart and
yeah,
spirit.
yeah. And I'm sick of hearing that. We got art.
Passion.
Oh, what?
Passion doesn't put food on the table.
No, it does not. It doesn't pay for health insurance when a dancer hurts themselves on the stage and we have to take them to the ER. It doesn't pay for medical bills, stress-related induced illnesses,
Depression, anxiety,
all of that.
all of it.
So not ending on here's a quote to end with.
Okay.
You don't have to move a mountain. You just have to keep moving. And we do that every day.
And we do it every day.
We do that every day. But now we're at a point where we're in a battle, because I feel this is definitely a battle. Okay. And we're having a battle on many fronts, all at the same time. So now we have to figure out what's next. I'm at a very critical juncture. For me personally, I don't know how I can continue to keep doing what I've been doing, because my body is telling me it's too much. My body is telling me that. I got the marching orders from the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's what's next? That's why I'm sitting down with the whole crew tonight. And it says, where are you all going to be? Because I need to know. Yep. This is where we are. And it's a national conversation. I'm talking to people, friends of
Yeah.
mine who are in the arts, my age group, in DC,
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Nashville, Atlanta,
Yeah.
LA. Everybody's going through the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not just a Milwaukee problem,
No.
but we have a particular set of circumstances because of
Yes,
our low state investment
exactly.
in the
And
art
city investment.
and city and county.
It is
Yeah.
ridiculous that the funds that Campac has to distribute. It's totally embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole fund is just too small for the sector.
Absurdly small.
It's too small. And the fact, if that is true, what I heard, that plan for the city does not involve the arts, that is a serious thing that we need to raise. We need to go out blazing with that.
Signal flares and
That's right. We need to go out because that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. If that is true, that is horrific and not acceptable, and it needs to be exposed.
yeah.
Hey, if the balloon, we just burn it up and go down with it. Because I'm not going to disappear quietly. That's not going to happen.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
I'm not going down quiet. No way.
Well, and to that point, smack on the whole, none of us should.
Absolutely.
None of us should. Our whole, like you said, this year in our last year, we should absolutely press the pedal to the metal
Absolutely.
on advocacy
Correct.
to the political realm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there.
I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Again, I hope
we did some resolution here. We know we got some marching orders.
we have, yes, we know what we are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
At least there's that. We know what we are doing.
Exactly.
We will take it to the rest of the group, and then
Yes.
we'll
And I won't be at the next meeting because I'll be recuperating. But
yes, you
definitely speak the
again,
voice.
your body is speaking to you.
Yeah.
And so you know, I for what it's worth, you know, I just started therapy back up again and all the things because of what we are up against. And so
I know.
I hope that anybody listening out there really has gained some insight into what we are up against.
Yes.
And please reach out to either of our organizations. You can go to the Mighty Cause page and find out more about SMAC. You can go to Ko-Thi and learn more about Ko-Thi. Do I have the constructivists? And then you can go to the constructivists and you can go and check out the work that we do. You can check out the work on all 11 organizations at that Mighty Cause page.
Yeah.
And please, if you just look around your life and where the arts are and exist in your life, it's it's really built on a lot of heart from a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yes.
because the dollars are thin
Yep. And getting thinner.
and getting thinner. So thank you again.
It was a pleasure.
And
It was a pleasure. I'm glad we did this
I'm
now. I'm glad we did this.
I am as well. And we will I will hopefully have some updates on a future podcast episode
Okay.
about
Okay.
where SMAC has taken
Mm-hmm.
this little conversation that we did,
Okay. Yeah.
and follow
Yeah.
up on that. And so, but
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much. And you take care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Priority right now is that.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am. To be continued.
To be continued.
Peace.
Okay. There you go. That's that 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 conversation filled my soul in a lot of ways just because it's just really great to get insight from Ferne, who is just such a mind. And in other ways it's really stressful. It's really stressful to try to produce as a small arts company in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. um Access to funds is just really, really, really challenging. And when you're already stretched as an organization, so many of our smaller arts organizations work with small teams, and so you're spreading your brain out, across quite a few departments, and that can take its toll. And so more arts funding, would allow us to have more people on the team with a fair income, and just spread the load out a little bit more, because you see small arts organizations disappear all the time, and a lot of it is just plain old burnout because it's such a struggle. So um you can go to the Cause page of SMAC and donate, or just find out more information. It has all the links to all the companies on there. Um, and and I really, really do encourage you to ask your representatives where they stand on arts funding. Why don't they value arts funding? Why don't they value the arts and show that through funding? I encourage you to reach out. Um, and if you would like more information about how to do that, about any sort of email templates, Create Wisconsin also has really great email templates to talk to your representatives. But if you would like access to resources, just reach out to info@makita.org, and we can have a conversation about that. And I can hopefully direct you to other places that you can go to find ways to help with advocacy. So thanks for being here today. I I really try to do my best to get the word out there, to get more information about how the arts work here in Milwaukee. And so there you go. So thank you again. And I hope you join us next week. We'll talk about, um, I've got Michael Unger from Skylit Music Theater coming back. That's what I've got on the calendar to talk about. A Rockin' Midsummer Night's Eve. Sorry, Dream. Ugh, brain. A Rockin' Midsummer Night's Dream, which is it was conceived and directed by Michael Unger. So I'm interested to talk to him about that. It's a really packed show with local artists and UWM students and kids, and so that should be fun. We'll also talk a little bit about Forte's opening Mamma Mia next week. So we'll get some information to you about that. They also have summer camps and uh and Beetlejuice Junior auditions. Go to fortetheatercompany.org to check out those auditions, because those are coming up real quick. But we'll talk more about that next week, because I've sort of run out of time here. So thank you again, and really appreciate you listening to me blather. And we'll see you next week on You've Got a Thing. Yeah.